be home. What's your schedule?
So we will be on time.
Yep, I will, I'll get it sent off to you. I am. Very well, my day.
Yeah.
No, I'll give you the details.
We will call this council meeting in the order on October 13th. We'll have a roll call.
Michelle Otto.
Roy Henry.
Mark Kretzer, Ben Keel,
We have Wendy Manson, our city clerk, Barb Swanson, our city administrator, our city attorney, and Pat, our city engineer, Justin Kangas, city supervisor, Sean Jarrett. We'll stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open forum, we just got one request tonight. We have approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We should do the open forum. We have to do the approval.
I thought you had that back here.
Approval of the agenda, number 5.
Yeah, approval of the agenda, okay, I'm sorry.
We're going to add some items to the agenda.
Pardon?
We're going to add some items to the agenda.
Oh, yeah, we're adding, planning and zoning commission, item 2, review highway 12 zoning, November meeting. Item 2, council meeting on Monday night for cancel, and then L for school crossing.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the added items.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Otto, second by Ben. Mark, how you vote?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Johnson? Aye. Otto?
Aye.
Vote aye. Motion carried 5-0. Approval of the consent agenda.
I have a couple questions on the account table. I questioned this before, the Xcel Energy electric and gas charges. It's like almost, just under $9,000 a month. Does that include, what does that all include?
Xcel Energy,
Yeah.
it's our electric and our gas for City Hall, Public Works Building, Community Center, Fire Barn, all the wells, the well houses, the wastewater treatment plant,
The
the
public
lift
works
stations,
building that has this one, what about the one down there?
electricity.
There's no heat?
And the streetlights.
And the streetlights and what am I thinking of? Traffic
Wastewater treatment
signals.
plant.
It's it's traffic signals, so it's everything that the city has that operates on electricity or gas.
Okay, so the building down at the Public Works building where all of our equipment is stored doesn't have any heat in it?
Not right now, no.
Is there a plan for that?
John's got a plan.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a plan.
Okay. Okay.
It'll be presented to the council, next council meeting.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And then I have another one. The zero waste, the doggy waste stations, was that an additional that we just?
We bought one additional dog waste station to put out that was asked for. And we bought a couple more that go on the garbage cans, because we had a few that were damaged. And then we bought bags.
Okay. What do we pay for the bags?
Bags are $39 a case, and there's 2,000 of these.
2,000. Okay, I just happened to see the bags all over town, so. That's all I have. Good. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, second by Mark, to approve the consent agenda. How do I vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Johnson? Aye. I vote aye, motion carried 5-0. Wright County Sheriff's Department report.
Hold on, Mark, did you get a chance to call?
No, did anybody talk to them about the crosswalk situation? Yeah. I had,
Yeah, that's on the.
we had gotten a complaint from you that people went through the crosswalk with, crossing guard there and kids in the crosswalk. What, 8 cars went through? So I was on a walk later that day and I saw, Wright County and, talked to him and he put it on the computer. But his first statement to me was that that is not in your time period.
It's not the right statement,
I wasn't doing it.
personally. Okay.
Also, there are, 12 requests from every city in Wright County for a crosswalk guarding at that time of day, so.
Okay. Move on to reports of city departments, commissions, and committees.
I think I'm up here first. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I have the code of conduct before you here, and we've talked about this for a few meetings, so I don't know if I need to go over it in too much detail, but I do want to cite 2 points here. The first was the change that was made from the last version of this item, and I'm happy to go through whatever you want on this document, but the specific change was in the middle of the 3rd paragraph in section 26.03. It's on page 12 of your packet. And there was an old language in there talking about, that if it's an official complaint, it goes to the personnel committee, and then the city council determines whether to hear the complaint, and there was a 45-day window of which the council would do that. I've changed that based on the last council discussion of 30 days. So the city council's determination of whether the complaint requires a hearing must be made as soon as possible, not to exceed 30 days after the complaint has been heard by the personnel committee. There's another 30 days in the next sentence too, instead of 45. That's the only change I made. It makes it a little quicker process. And if you meet only once a month, then that will be the next meeting of when it would be heard. And sometimes there are special meetings and closed meetings and such, and you know about that. So that's the only change, just to make clear on that. And I'll take any questions you have on that. The second point quickly was there might be some different perspectives on what penalties might come into play here for people who this applies to. And later on in this 3rd paragraph, I sort of list a universe of penalties as examples. And that's the sentence that begins, in the middle of the sentence, it says the city council may censure the person, refer the matter for criminal prosecution. In an extreme case, request such person not to participate in a certain decision, remove such person from an advisory board or commission established by the city council, or take other disciplinary action against the person. So it's sort of broad, leaves you discretion to do things that you feel are appropriate. Now, there was some discussion at the last meeting about instituting some sort of penalty in there for not being paid for certain meetings if you're under a censure, and that would obviously apply to public officials, not staff. And then also it would possibly stop some debate, so if somebody was penalized, they might not be able to formally participate in the meeting, although they would be able to vote on the matter. They can't be kicked off the council. We've been through that as to why that is, because that's a public official safeguard. Now, I don't know if you want, I guess if you want something like that included in here as a broad penalty, I'd like a motion and a second on that, so I know exactly what you'd like, and I can certainly do that. Or, the way we have it in here now, it's broad and discretionary, that last clause, or take other disciplinary action against the person. That, in my opinion, would cover any sort of restricting pay from council members and restricting debate. There might be some constitutional problems with restricting debate for a council member on the First Amendment grounds, but that can be looked into a little bit further if you wish. So that's my, I just want to, if there's any discussion on that, I'd be happy to help with a motion. Or to accept it as it is with this one little change I made. That's all I have on that one.
But at the last discussion, though, it was brought up that be no pay and no say. And that was voted on by the council.
No, there was no action. There was no motion. There was no action on it.
Just discussion on that.
You remember that conversation?
Yeah, there was discussion, but we didn't make a motion or proceed with it.
I thought we all had agreed that that would be added in here too.
I thought so too. I thought there was some consensus on that, and I don't remember if we voted or not. But I do see, I'm kind of satisfied with the end of this, where it says a person may not, request that a person may not participate in certain decision, remove such person from an advisory board or commission established by the city council, or take other disciplinary action against the person. So at that time, the council could do that, unless you want it in there up front.
Can I
If we
interject?
put it in there up front, then there's no questions, no bickering back and forth. That's kind of right, that's the way it is.
I think there's different levels though of problems. So one could be something, it could be something somebody says, or it could be an action that somebody does. So maybe the censuring wouldn't be the same for all events that takes place. So to say that the punishment, so to speak, would be equal for every event that would take place, I don't think you can do that, because there's different levels of activity.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think if the city council goes so far as to censure somebody, that's already a level of, a line that's been crossed.
Yeah, and then of course if it's major, then it would probably go on to the personnel committee and to see if it should be justified to pursue the further action under the law.
Well, I think if you want Andy to do that, it'd be appropriate to make a motion and be specific about what you want, what we want said in this. Because it seems like every time we're kind of spinning our wheels, so some good, clear direction would be appreciated.
One other question, Andy, how long, there's nothing here about the duration of the censure.
That's correct.
What would that be?
And that's really up to the council on a case-by-case determination.
put that in there too. If you're censured for the duration of your term or whatever.
Again, wouldn't that go by whatever it is, you know, like they say, case by case, depending on what the action is that such person has taken?
Well, if it was necessary to censure somebody, it must have been important enough.
Okay. Is there changes you wanted made?
Yeah, we should,
Make a motion.
but let's discuss this duration of the censorship. What does everybody feel on that? Like the rest of your term on the seat, or as long as you're on the council board or that kind?
I think it would have to be, Lloyd, what is happening or what you're accused of to censor somebody, to see how long it would have to go. Because some things could be serious and some things couldn't be serious. That's the worst part about it, you know, to
Right.
censure.
It's a case-by-case situation.
And more or less, I would say, it would have to be up to the council and then see if the city attorney, how he feels about it, to push the issue for censoring somebody.
Well, as far as just censoring, that can be done without any personnel meetings or anything like that. That's the way that was handled all the time before. But I say we should add in there, no pay and no say.
For what period of time?
Well, that's what I was trying to get an answer at.
I mean, I agree with Mr. Henry that for each situation does vary. I mean, I can see, okay, if you're gonna censure someone, have a minimum time frame, minimum time frame of 1 month off of their, appointed duties, as you're saying, to review and see if we can discuss with that council member to get them moving back in the right direction. But I don't think you can stipulate that no matter what you do, you are off for X period of time. I don't think you can put a base and then a continuation with, depending the circumstances, but I don't think you could put a label on, this is how long you're censured, no matter what you do.
I do like the idea, Ben, about a minimum with the length, minimum of, say, 2 months, 3 months.
Okay.
Six months.
With
And then being re-reviewed.
end date to be determined by the council after, I would say, a month's time, give everybody a time to come to grips with what the initial offense
Yep.
was. So the length would be a minimum of a certain amount of time, then be determined that
The
the
full
maximum length would be determined by the next council member. Something like that.
That would be okay, I guess. So then I need to make a motion to have any changes to the no pay, no say, and then.
Well, they still get a say. Isn't there still a say?
No, when they get a vote, they don't get a say.
Well, I mean, I think I think I want to make sure to cover the bases as far as the say part of it. I mean, if you have somebody who's censured in the council, and we're all, it's not just the council, it's the other commissions too and everything, but if it's the council and somebody talks during a meeting, I mean, maybe the phrase I have in here already, request such person not to participate in a certain decision. How do you draw the parameters on that?
That's
I
why
think
if
there should be
you,
some
that's why if you have no say, there's nothing to worry about.
I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
we can do that on a constitutional basis. I just feel like we should make sure we're okay on that. I can do the no pay part of it. if you're making the motion, that'd be appreciated, so I know exactly how to revise.
Yeah, but now you said you're gonna check the no say.
Yeah, so I mean, that's still gonna have to be checked on.
So what's the sense of making a motion today until?
Well, I'm just, a motion just describing what you'd like me to do. The other things are more non-controversial to me. The duration, whatever you want to pick for that, I can put that in there. And then the strict of pay during the duration of the censure, I can certainly put that in there, no problem.
Okay, I'll make a motion and put in there, no say, no pay, and be censured for 3 months, and then it will be reviewed if it needs to go further.
Can I repeat it?
Yep.
Direct Andy to change the draft ordinance to no pay, look into no say or no participation, and with a minimum duration of 3 months.
At that time, it would be reviewed.
Duration, minimum duration of 3 months followed by a review.
I'll second that.
Motion by Lloyd, second by Mark. Johnson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Otto?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0. Anybody else got anything for commissions or committees?
Are you on city council activities? Is that what you're doing?
Huh?
City council activities, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I attended the community advisory meeting, September 16th, where the superintendent came and talked to us about the bond that's coming up, that they're asking citizens to vote for on November 4th. I put flyers over on the table for anybody to look at, and all the information is in there. They're looking to do a lot of different repairs and stuff at the schools. It's not your typical levy, it's a bond levy, so it's not for like teacher salaries and stuff like that. It's for actual repairs at the school. I also attended the PAC meeting, which is a parent advisory committee meeting at this, over here at this school, Montrose School. And we're going to be doing bingo night October 24th. I think that's all I have.
I attended the Wright County Area Transportation Meeting that we refer to as WCAT, and as of right now, with 4 buses that Trailblazer Transit is supplying the same amount of rides that River Rider was supplying last year. By the end of the year, we'll have 7 buses online in Wright County. By the end of 2015, we'll have 14 buses on the road out of the Buffalo facility, and right now the Buffalo facility is at the Buffalo Transportation Building, their maintenance shed. I don't know if there are plans to acquire a different building or anything like that, but right now, as of last month, there were 3,600 rides delivered, 700 denials. So we're still in the process of getting through the growing pains, getting all the buses online so that those denials will go down. We have to keep telling the public that there are big pockets of time between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and they keep trying to call, and they can either get the ride or not. The problem right now is that, like, Functional Industries is the biggest contract, so they take the majority of the rides in the morning and the afternoon. There's also Duracell has expressed interest in, they're even willing to change their manufacturing hours so that people can ride the bus out there later in the day. So that MnDOT cautions us, you don't want to have all contracts because it is public transportation, so we have to try and walk the fine line there. But in August, WCAT did elect their officers. Jack Russick from Delano is their chair. What's the mayor's name from Maple Lake?
Escapes me.
Lynn,
Yeah.
She's the second chair, and then Kelly, she's the city administrator from Annandale. She's the secretary treasurer, and so I think they did a good job. What else? The Functional Industries contract right now is a very good contract according to Trailblazer. That is bringing in more income right now than all of McLeod and Sibley County's ridership. And so that helps us pay down the cost. But we also are, like I said, we're cautioned by MnDOT, and they supply 85% of the money, that they do want us to realize that it is public transportation. Right now, the WCAT board is now going to be entering into negotiations with the Trailblazer board so that they can all become one. And it actually take place hopefully by the end of the year. I don't see any problems there. It's just formalities. And, it's all down to ride share and stuff like that, and who's going to hold what. But MnDOT has been very helpful as far as new buses, and it's, I think, for the amount of time after Wright County Board dropped the ball on this, for all the cities to come together in Wright County and make this happen, it's nothing short of a miracle.
I attended the Wright County Mayor's Association thing over to Wright County Jail with Joe Haggerty and stuff. He really gave all of us mayors a good show at the county jail and good explanations on all the equipment, how everything runs and everything. It was a great night. And then Highway 12 redevelopment, we planted all the trees and the shrubs, and we had a great turnout. Everybody worked together, and everything went great. Really appreciate it.
Attended the Montrose Day celebration here, meeting yesterday, and just want a reminder that here this Friday is a dance and activity night for young kids to come out, carve some pumpkins, and just have a good activity night here at the community center from 7 to 9. No,
4:30.
4:30 to 9.
Meet the candidates.
Oh, and on the 29th, Wednesday night, we are having a Meet the Candidates here. We got our questionnaires, and hopefully everyone has RSVP'd back to come in, and they have given us some questions, and then they're also open to the public for questions to be asked of the candidates.
It's at 7 p.m.
Let's put on my celebration committee too. And that, the candidates. Okay, the candidates committee. Questions from the public, that's in written form only, right, to be submitted to you guys?
We haven't decided that, but it's from who walks in. There will be a jar there, there'll be paper and pens, you can write your question down. nor literally just be picked by somebody in the audience and give them to the moderator to ask.
Anybody else? Okay, now we'll move on to the EDA bar and min card commercial real estate.
So in your packet is information about Mincar Commercial Real Estate Expo exhibit. And we were wondering if the city council wants to participate in this. It's well attended, over 500 attendees, licensed commercial real estate brokers, also include other industries, including construction, development, property management, banking, law firms, architects, and designers. It's going to be held the same night as the Meet the Candidates. We do have one volunteer. We're looking for a second volunteer. If anybody from the city council would be interested in attending, you know, I think it's a good opportunity for the city to get out there and talk about and promote Montrose. The cost is $1,000. We can use the Highway 12 big booth, and we can hand out some of our, there's some tape measures and some things we can hand out if the city's interested in doing it. We do need another volunteer though, otherwise we should pass on it this year.
How soon do we need to locate a second volunteer for this? Pretty well immediately.
Pretty well immediately, yeah. I'm looking at the deadline on that.
I don't see one.
I don't see a deadline on here either.
Okay, that's the 29th of October, so
It'd be soon.
it'd be soon we need to,
But it's on the same night as the,
meet candidates, yeah.
what time is that? Where?
This is from 3 to 7 and it's at the Depot downtown Minneapolis. Shinkaby is going to be down there promoting their industrial park, and I'm guessing some other projects as well. So, but I talked to them because I thought maybe if they were going, you know, would it really be beneficial for us to go as well? And they thought it would be. They thought it would be great if, you know, we had a presence there. We're working to do the same thing, get more business in town.
And the time that he would be planning to be in here.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate, is that it's the same night as the Meet the Candidate.
Would we have to be down there the whole length of the time?
Well,
For $1,000.
Yeah.
We're putting into it.
yeah, because you have to go down and set up and take the booth down and stuff.
Most of those type of presentations like that don't allow you to take your booths down early. Like if you do get caught taking your booth down early, you don't come back again. So it is very
Yeah, but
heavy.
I mean, we're gonna have what, 1 or 2 people there? 2 people?
Right now, there's one person,
Yeah.
but it, you know, I've set up booths myself. You can do some of them one person, but if you have two, it's much nicer.
Did you want to go?
Well, not for the whole duration, I kind of went for a couple hours in the afternoon.
We talked to all the EDA members, you know, so we do have one member of the EDA that's able to go. Everybody else is tied up because of Meet the Candidates. You know, I don't know who else would be available. So if this is something you're interested in, maybe you could approve it and see if I can find another volunteer in the next few days. It's up to you. Or if it's something you'd rather wait till next year to participate in. If the city of Montrose isn't going to participate in, I'm going to give the information to the best of 12 tomorrow. Because maybe they'll want to come out.
This was done 2 years ago, where we don't have
is a little different, this is downtown, different crowd.
Barb, it's a matter of needing help taking down the booth. I mean, I'll probably be there through my law firm, so I'd be happy to help at 7 o'clock.
Thanks, thanks, Steve. Yeah, thanks, Andy. It's not that big a booth,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know, it's not that big, but I think that, you know, it'd be nice to have two faces down there, not just one.
Well, and Highway 12, does each community gonna have one?
Well, I don't know, they don't know anything about
We
it,
couldn't have a joint one, it's
not really.
I think maybe with the, meet the candidates situation going on that night, that, be better tabled for next year.
That's fine, thank you, I'll share it with Best of 12 if they're interested. The next item, under EDA is the preserve of Montrose. As you can see, Joanne changed the letter to offer $2 parcel. We had communication with the people at Wright County, so they are anticipating, they know our interests, they're anticipating that they'll hear from us. And I seem pretty receptive to that.
That we are, so this is the letter that you're talking about, that's,
Yep, it's a draft,
okay,
has not been sent.
all right. But you will be going, or some of us will be going to the Wright County
Meeting,
board
board meeting.
meeting, and that's on Tuesday morning, so, you know, if I'd be willing to go, and I'm sure that, along with you,
Okay,
sure that somebody else might want to go too, so that's fine. But did you have to coordinate that with the Wright County attorney then to make sure that he's there, so?
so we want to make sure we're on the agenda, so
Okay.
we'll do that sometime before the end of the month.
Yeah, it will either be the 22nd or the 28th,
22nd.
and I think you're on vacation. the
Yeah, so we'll
22nd.
shoot for the 28th.
That's October.
Yes.
I'll probably go with you guys.
What'd you say, Lloyd?
he's interested.
I'll be interested in going too.
So we'll have Marshall, Bartle, and Lloyd on the 28th.
If you want to go, that's fine. I'll follow. I just
Sorry.
I threw it out there to make sure. I think that it's important that
Somebody else.
Barb has support up there.
I know where you're coming from.
Not that they're going to be hostile to it or anything.
I wouldn't expect that. So is there a motion to proceed with this?
I'll make a motion to proceed with this.
I'll second.
Motion by Dan, second by Marge.
Proceed with the
Oh,
purchase?
go ahead.
Sorry. So if we proceed with this and purchase this land for $2 an acre,
A parcel.
a parcel, and we own this, how soon is it that we would have to build on this?
I don't think there's any stipulation.
It's not like regional,
No,
No.
because remember in their discussion that we could land bank this and then hold up, sit on
Sit
it.
on it like it's sitting right now.
Correct.
Why would we want to do that?
Maybe you left.
I
Yes,
did not even
that's
miss
right.
meeting.
Because then we could present it to developers that
Right.
are willing to not just buy it, but sit on it like many developers are right now, sitting on land
Mhm.
around the city that it's hurting us. Present this to a developer that's willing to go along the lines of something that we want built out there. He's gonna have to replat it because
So this cost of almost $900,000, or $958,000.
That would be
We're
the
going to
buyers,
build it and
definitely
buy
the
it.
buyers.
Yes,
Correct. So
And I could sit as long as the she would be building this
Yep.
property is sitting.
the only money that we would have potentially invested in it
$2.
is the $2 a parcel, and that's it. We do not have to develop it, do any, so.
Didn't we do a
why we took out that $5,000 grant from Egg Start, to see what's going
The
on.
market, the market share.
Marketed.
And their recommendation, one of the recommendations was land bank. Anything that we can do to bypass the middleman, the developers right now, that we can get somebody in here that's interested in getting things going, whether it be houses or business up front, and is willing to work with the city, you know, then we have
And they pay the cost.
a chip in the game, a card in the game, rather than we're just at the mercy of the developers that are hanging on to the land until it turns into gold.
Okay, any more questions?
So the motion I have is to proceed with the purchase of the preserve of Montrose. Made by Ben, seconded by Mark.
With, the letter says, sorry,
Go ahead, no
the
problem.
letter says, I remember the EDA's recommendation was $2 per lot, not to exceed $1,000.
$2 a lot exceed $1,000.
Not to exceed $1,000.
Right,
That's what it said.
right. But is it 54.2 acres times 2 more than $1,000?
It's
I
not
mean,
acre, but it goes
Or, I
by
mean,
the lots.
Right.
182 parcels,
Yeah.
$2 a parcel.
Yep, thank you.
Any more questions? Motion by Ben, second by Mark. Ben, how do you vote?
Aye.
Johnson? Aye. Michelle?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
The last item is Manufacturers Week, which begins this Sunday, and attached is a proclamation from the mayor. Page 30.
Does it have to be posted or anything?
Yeah, it should be read and posted.
Whereas the manufacturing industry is a dynamic part of Minnesota and the city of Montrose's economic and promotion of this sector's strength, success, the high quality of life is an integral part of Montrose's economic development strategy, and whereas manufacturing directly and indirectly provides more than 826,000 high-skill, high-wage jobs, which scientifically contribute to Minnesota's high standard of living and economic vitality, and whereas the manufacturing, as the second largest total payroll among business sectors in Minnesota, providing $18.3 billion in wages, and whereas Montrose manufacturers provide high-quality jobs for area residents, and whereas manufacturing in Minnesota produces $43.7 billion in state economic impact on 16% of our gross domestic products, and whereas manufacturing exports bring $20 billion in Minnesota economics, and whereas manufacturers and contractors in Montrose are a major contributor to the city's 559 local jobs and 41 businesses. Now therefore, Roy Henry, Mayor of Montrose, do hereby claim that the week of October 19, 2014 to October 25th shall be observed as Manufacturers Week in the city of Montrose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. First on the list is our new hires. Do you want to do all in one motion or individual?
My motion is good.
Okay. I will go through the candidates first, a little background on James Casari. JT moved into town over a year ago. He comes to us with 18 years of experience from the Hamel Fire Department. So he's basically free. So we're just basically waiting on his physicals to come back from the doctor saying he's good to go. All three candidates are that way, but so he would be our first. Ryan Lazenby, I'm gonna back up here, JT, from October, November through March, April-ish, available daytime, he's on call for work. So that helps out, he works for the city of Plymouth. If we, asking if we had something big and he's at work, it's gonna take him a while to get here, but he could respond. Ryan Lazenby, employed at Belleville, can respond during the day. When we advertised, our big thing was daytime help, and with these three, we're getting that. Our big challenge is gonna be with Joseph Bontoma. Joe works he starts at 3 in the afternoon. Works till 11 or later, depending on his work hours. The challenge for us is gonna be training. For most of us, we're not gonna see him much, except for the daytime guys and the weekends, but huge asset. So for our training division, that's gonna be the trick for him, is to get him trained. I've already been in contact with some of the companies that we train through, trying to figure something out for daytime trainings for him, so we've already got that ball rolling. So we'd like a motion to approve these three to come on to the department, pending their physicals.
Make a motion to approve the 3 members of the fire department.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mark, second by Johnson, to approve these 3 members on the fire department. Otto, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
And then the truck, long time coming, it is here. It's not in service yet. We did our first training on it this past Saturday. I'm kind of excited to say that this coming week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, myself, Kevin, and Mike are going to the State Fire Chiefs Convention like they do every year for the officers. Custom asked if they could display our truck at the convention, and I said yes. I think it's kind of cool.
Oh, you show off.
I'll say, yeah, I think the committee has designed a very nice truck, and to showcase it, I feel it seems right, Our small town gets to showcase what our money has purchased for us.
So when you guys were
Speaking-
playing with it on Saturday, did everything?
Unbelievably quiet while we were pumping water. I actually stood in front of the truck with a deputy and carried on a conversation like we are right now. And he didn't have to scream. I mean, but very nice. So there's a couple wrinkles that we're still working out with custom that, as anything you build brand new, you build a house, you still have issues. So and custom's working with us on it, so we get whatever we need to get taken care of. So if the meeting doesn't go too late, I'll open up the station and everybody can go over and take a peek after the meeting. So that's all I have. The rest of it is on you guys. Thank you.
When we get a ride? Not today. Okay.
Okay, now we gotta have an appointment of the fire chief. Kevin?
Want me to come up?
Sure.
Good evening, council. My name is Kevin Triplett. I put in for appointment to the fire chief for starting January 1st of 2015.
Kevin's the only applicant. He has all the qualifications. I have his, I gave you his letter.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to accept Kevin's application as fire chief starting 2015.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mark, second by Michelle to appoint Kevin Triplett as our fire chief for 2015. Otto, how do you vote?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
Thank you, and I look forward to working with you.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
adjourn?
Second.
Second? Okay, just checking. Just want to put that out there for you guys.
Thank you.
Park Commission, Wendy Nelson.
Good evening, council. We had a park meeting on October 7th at City Hall. Have a couple of things I need. The Park Commission is recommending the council accept Sue White and Sharon Odell's resignation from the Park Commission, so we need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to accept Sharon Adele and Sue White's resignation from Park and Rec.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, second by Mark, to approve the resignation of Sue White and Sharon Odell. Johnson, how you vote?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
And we'd also like to thank them for serving on the Park Commission. They are both, Sue has already moved out of town and Sharon is moving out of town, so. The second thing we have is the Carver Field concession stand. Michelle ran it, or the kids of Montrose sort of, ran it this last year. 10 or 15 times it was open, 10 times. The stand had net receipts of $167.25, which was put into the Park Commission, or into the Park operating account, and we use it just for Carver Field. And on that same line, Michelle has been in touch with a student here in Montrose. It's a student of Buffalo Schools who's kind of an artist and would like to paint the two logos, the Montrose Mustang logo and the Buffalo Bison logo, on the dugouts, one on each dugout at the park. So the commission is recommending the council approve the purchasing of the paint that's needed and to allow the student artist to paint the logos on the dugouts.
Roughly, what does the paint cost for it?
I don't know, I can't imagine it's gonna be that much because
I mean, I didn't know how, are they talking real big ones or just any
I'm guessing-
size scope?
The dugouts, yeah,
Okay.
boys will take the whole back half of each one.
Okay.
we're gonna have to buy paint anyway because people have put their little logos on it
Oh, I'm
themselves.
sure.
So, in any case, it has to be painted, so if she's willing to paint it,
So is that money gonna come out of the,
The money that I made.
yeah,
Yeah.
as a concession stand.
Plus we have just under 300 from last year too.
Yep.
and then the permits for next year will be addressed and taken care of?
Mhm.
To see if there's a longer term one or if you have to get it.
Correct. We'll look and see if there's like a 21-day permit.
Preferably sometime this winter, rather than be done right up until
I'll wait
the
till
season
next
starts. Yeah. Okay.
So we need a motion to allow us to buy the paint for her.
I'll make a motion to approve the paint.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Henry, second by Ben. Johnson, how do you vote? Aye. Michelle?
Ms. Abstain.
Mark?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 4-0.
The next thing we discussed was having a contest, a Halloween house decorating contest. So we're asking that residents that decorate their house for Halloween would take a picture of their house, submit it to Anna and our office at the utilities, and she will put it out on Facebook. And it has to be submitted to the city by October 31st. Anna will put it on Facebook and we'll give everybody a chance to vote up until November 7th to vote on their favorite house decorating. And then we're gonna do the same thing for Christmas. I can't remember the dates. It's in the newsletter though. So everybody, the newsletters will be coming out tomorrow or the next day, and that'll be in the newsletter. So we're encouraging everybody to decorate either for Halloween or Christmas or both. Send us your picture and we'll put it on Facebook. And we're not giving away a prize, but we will recognize the winner on Facebook and the city's webpage and acknowledge, at least announce who won. Something to just give it a try anyway and see if people want to participate.
At one time, when you didn't we give like a 1 month's water bill or utility bill paid or something like this?
We gave away a gift card, I believe, for a Christmas decorating one year, but that was when we had the Healthy Communities Partnership Grant. It was part of that, this Community Pride did it, it was part of that grant. We'll be canceling our November park meeting because of elections that day. The next thing is the Park and Rec also recommended that the council approve city staff to purchase the Adopt a Park /trail /garden signs from the sign man at a cost of approximately $20 each. There's 9 parks, 5 trails, and 3 gardens, so it would be at a total approximate cost of $340. Those signs would be 12 by 12, and the top part would be a permanent that says this park or this garden, whatever, adopted by, and the bottom would be vinyl that we can put on or peel off, so if the person were to stop doing the cleanup or moved out of town or whatever, we could remove that, and we will put on the ones that aren't adopted yet, we'll put available and city's phone number on there.
So you need a motion on that.
Please.
All right, I'll make a motion to purchase the Adopt Trail garden signs for the sign man. Well, how about this, just go total cost of $340.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mark, second by Johnson to approve the total cost for the signs of $340.
A little bit of discussion, has there been some good feedback on people willing to adopt parks?
I have a couple.
Okay,
We have 4.
We have 4, we have one on the Highway 12 gardens and 3 parks.
okay,
So I think if we get these signs out that say available, I think it'll be more obvious for people to.
okay.
I was paying attention to that when I was on vacation, and I noticed that a lot of the signs that weren't adopted yet, they had that availability
Yeah.
on there, and so we discussed that staff.
Okay. Yeah, like
I think
the adopt the
I
highway
think this-
signs.
I often walk a trail and I wonder how many people know that this is going on. And if the sign is there, they may say, hey, go on this trail. Yeah.
Who seconded that?
Lloyd.
Thank you.
Ben, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lloyd?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
That was really all, there was a couple of things discussed at the park meetings, but that was all that we really needed to act on, so thank you.
Move on, planning commission.
We received the resignation of Georgina Stanley Dilla. They have moved out of the area, so I need a motion to accept her resignation.
I make a motion to accept Georgie Stanley resignation from the planning commission.
One second.
Motion by Henry, second by Michelle. Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
On these, planning and zoning and park and rec, both of them, with, the resignations of people that we've had, we're advertising, right, that we're looking for, so it's on the city's webpage and Facebook? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Next, we have an application received from Kirby Minor to serve as a commissioner. Any discussion?
Yeah, I think maybe we should table this until the December meeting because he is running for a seat on the council, and which wouldn't be good to be on both of them, so he'd have to.
Well, you can't be on both of them. If you're a member of the city council, you can't serve as a voting member of the commission. But right now, the planning commission only has 3 members. And so if somebody's sick, we don't have a quorum, and we have a public hearing coming up November 3rd. So we could sure use another member. you know, and who's to say if Kirby will or will not be elected, I have no idea. And he's the only person that's applying.
With that said, you said you have a meeting coming up, public hearing,
November 3rd.
and so you need somebody?
Well, we have 3 members right now, but if somebody's sick, we can't hold that public hearing.
Right. And it says here that his prior experience was student liaison to the council and the college
Yes.
student senate. When we appointed him as a student liaison, he only attended 1 meeting here, maybe 2. So who's to say he would attend that meeting?
Well,
I
actually,
mean,
I his
I mean, I
attendance
think
was
he's got
very
interest
good
in
on
it, right?
the city council. You know, I mean, obviously, it's up to you, but it's the only person that's expressed any interest. And I told you the situation, so.
I'd like to table it until December.
Is that a motion then?
We need a motion on
Do
that?
we need a motion or just table?
I think a motion to table would be in order.
Mhm.
All right, I need a motion to table until December.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mark, second by Johnson, to table it until December. Mark, already vote.
Aye.
Ben?
May I ask for the discussion portion before we vote? The tabling for December is to see if he is elected to an open council seat, correct? Or if there are more applications?
Could be more applications, so.
Okay.
Could go either way.
Okay, I'm just asking if that's. I'm gonna vote no.
Johnson?
Aye.
Michelle?
So if we table this and we don't have the public hearing, that costs the city money, correct? Because we had to advertise for the public hearing.
Yes?
So, and we already changed it once, right?
There's gonna be 2 public hearings on the 3rd. One for the comp plan and one for Emery truck and trailer.
And that also the time for our council meeting.
It's just before,
It's
and
right
Mark,
before
you
the council
contacted all the
Yeah.
planning and zoning commissioners, and they said at the
Yes.
time that they would be able to attend,
Yes, right.
So we should be okay. We hope.
unless somebody's sick.
I hope,
Right.
yep.
Sick was good.
It's kind of a tough call here. I'll vote aye.
I'll vote yes. Table until December. Motion carried 3-2.
4-1.
It's 4-1.
Michelle. 4-1.
The third one is, currently along all of Highway 12, there's 3 zoning districts. The highway commercial is at the outer edges. There's some residential in the neighborhood across the street from Canvas Works. And then the center of the town is B1, which is business commercial. That B1 district was zoned RB, residential business, which allowed people to live in the houses that are in that zoning district and improve them. And I'm wondering if the planning commission, if the city council would like to direct the planning commission to review the zoning on that. It's really a 1-block area, you know, to be from, I think the zoning runs from the video store, it's called Apple Bottoms or whatever, that little video store. I think it runs from that corner through Red's Cafe. There's several homes in that area that are, so they're all zone commercial. property that comes immediately to mind is the house that's kitty corner from Casey's with an interim ordinance to allow them to live there 5 years. There's also 2 other residential properties that are outside of that, so maybe want to extend that, and they are on it's the old bed and breakfast in the little house next door. They've been purchased, and currently you can't live in these houses. I mean, the one house by Casey's has the interim use, but we have these homes, you know, and the hope was that eventually they turn into businesses. But we had that house vacant for 2 years. A business didn't move in there. And I'm just wondering if the planning commission should revisit that zoning and look at it, and perhaps, you know, if it was zoned residential business, then it could either be a home or a business. You know, people needed to put on a new deck or build a garage or put up a fence.
They can't even have an outside storage
Right.
hut right now, so,
Right.
our shed.
So I think, I just think it bears some conversation, you know, not to say they'll recommend a change, but I think, all things considered, perhaps the planning commission should review that, so.
Do you need a motion to have the
I think
planning
the city
zoning?
council could make a motion to direct
Yeah, yeah.
them to do that.
Okay. I'll make a motion then to have planning and zoning revisit the area between Apple Bottoms or the video store.
I
I'm
would
not
just
sure
say
what
the
it's-
Highway 12 zoning.
Highway 12 zoning, to have them look at it, to rezone it commercial and residential.
I'll second that. For the rezoning. Highway 12. Motion by Michelle, second by Henry. Johnson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Michelle?
I,
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
Thanks. You know, if anything would happen, it would require public hearing and, you know, publication, so, but thanks.
Well, it comes back to us again, too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, next we'll move on to new business, assessment of unpaid utilities.
Okay, it's the time of the year where we do the assessments for the unpaid utilities to their 2015 property taxes. So it's any utility bills that are outstanding, like around by November 15th, will be assessed to their properties for their 2015 taxes. So there's a resolution in your packet. You have a list of the properties that have outstanding utility bills. It is already getting smaller because people have been paying some of them. But we send out letters in September to all the residents and tell them that there is an outstanding, or to all the people that own the houses, saying there is an outstanding utility bill, and we give them a chance to pay it. But we need the resolution passed at this time. It doesn't go to the county until November, but this gives us the opportunity, or allows us to be able to assess them to their taxes, if not paid.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution 2014-16.
I'll second that.
can I ask a question? On this one for 2,180 to 230 with Jonathan Weiser, I thought you caught that up.
They didn't. They caught up part of it, not all of it.
Okay.
I can talk to you about it afterwards.
Okay.
Motion by Mark, second by Ben. Johnson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
Thank you.
Community garden rule, Mark?
I had a request. A some of the people that are on the Aspen Lane Community Garden asked if they could please be able to get the same spot next year. The gentleman stood up and said, because we've got sweat equity and all the rocks that I had to pick out of this plot, I don't want to have to do it to a different plot next year. And I said, I totally understand. And I guess I'll kick it over to Barb, because Barb has made some changes in that. And it looks like by eliminating the priority for 2014 will be the on a first-time basis. If we just eliminate that, kind of takes care of it, right?
Yeah, and the other, I just tried to make it more generic
Yeah.
dates, so I don't have to change it every year. That's really all it is. So this would allow anybody that has a garden spot to come in and reserve their same spot for the following year.
We had
They can do that at any time, right? They can do it like right now.
They could do it tomorrow.
Yep, and we had heard that before too from the people in Northridge that, with their special, their compost there and, I can understand that.
So why did we have two separate rules for two separate parks?
What?
Well, yes, because now Northridge, they have their grandfathered in at the Northridge Park. But then the rules for this park were first, why don't we just keep it,
We only grandfathered it in because they had started planning. That's why
I know
grandfathered that in
that.
for this year, but not for next year.
I know that, but as we know, when you get a garden, it's year after year after year, so why didn't we just originally put in here that you could be grandfathered in at this park also? Why didn't we keep the rules the same?
I don't know, you helped write on.
I know, I mean, we had the discussion, so I guess I must have missed it.
We just thought it would be easy, we thought it'd be easier, so if you have 10 plots and number 3 wanted their garden spot back next year, and
Right.
2 and 4 didn't,
Number
it would
three
just
just
be
keep that.
easier just to do it, start at one end and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but, after further discussion, we understand the problem and the cost of that, and that's why.
And I think too, we've taken care of it by the third one down, each household will be allowed to reserve 1 plot in advance, not come in and reserve 5.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we just missed it, and, the guy told me, he stood up all sweaty and said, I don't want to pick rocks out of the next plot next year.
Right. I mean, that's what Jim and Teresa said the same thing for,
Well, they talked about the dirt,
yeah, and, the time that they put into it.
Does this also mean that they can't plant until May 16th?
Well, we're gonna
Yeah.
till them,
City's
so,
controlling it.
yeah.
Because a lot of stuff they kind of get planted by that time or before.
Well, it depends if we can get in there and till it, the city tills it, so.
Did we discuss though at the Northridge Park that they could till it on their own? Wasn't that part of the discussion?
Well, the same thing with the other part.
That's Northridge, that's right. Because some of them said they didn't want, well, the 2 that came here said that they were willing to till their own.
They would probably even, till in some compost and stuff.
Oh, my friend, oh yeah, they are. They've been doing it for 5 years. So, I just want to make sure that both parts are consistent with what we do, so that we don't have to come back to this again.
Well, do you want to table it, review it more?
Well, I mean, if, we should have had Northridge rules here along with,
There are no other rules, these are the only rules.
Yeah, it says right here, both of them, Northridge Park.
Arapahoe
I know, but
has
back in
the rules.
April, we had decided that the Northridge Park was grandfathered in, so it actually is different from what we discussed in April.
I don't think
It was
there
only because they
Yeah, they
were
decided
started
to
discussion about them tilling at home, they wanted to.
Right. We didn't make a final decision on
We
that.
were dragging our feet on that too. Some people wanted to plant, but we hadn't made up our mind yet, so that's why we grandfathered them in to go ahead with what they were doing.
Well, I'm okay with these changes because these would be consistent with the others, so.
The only thing is, the ones that are in there now, are we gonna send them a notice so that they know that this is so if they wanna come in, and pay for next spring right away, to
Well, they would
ensure
get-
that they'll get it.
They would get this when they sign up, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I would think they'd get the role.
Can this go out in the newsletter? The newsletter's already out. So it's too late.
Well, we have another one going out in January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put that out in the newsletter and then,
Yeah, in January.
can I make a motion to accept the changes to the community garden rules?
Second?
Motion by Mark, second by Michelle, to accept the Montrose Community Garden Rule. Dan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Johnson? Aye. Michelle?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0. Okay. And move on to the volunteer dinner, Michelle, Mark, whatever.
At the EDA meeting, I talked with Joanne, who normally does our volunteer dinner in October, as to when this event was coming up. And at that time, there was no discussion on it, because we're not getting the grant that we normally get. So it was discussed that not having the dinner. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I realize it was, we were going for a grant and everything, but I still believe that the volunteers, because we've been doing this for how many years? 4 or 5?
I think we've done it the last 2 years, and then before that, we did it for several years in the spring during Volunteers Week, but that was back around 2005, 6, 7, something like that. And we stopped because the economy changed, and then when we got involved with HCP and had to have an annual meeting, I think it was the last 3 years, we included volunteers as part of that.
So we just piggybacked off
An
an existing requirement for something else.
And we're no longer eligible for that grant. It was no longer a requirement, and we didn't budget separately for the dinner.
How much was it for a cost? Do you remember?
Well, it varied. It used to, I think we used to spend about $1,200 on it, but like HCP covered that grant covered that. So our actual contribution was down to a couple $100.
And prior to that one was just the HCP, or just the volunteer dinner in the spring. I think we spent
$1,800.
over 2,000 with entertainment and the meal and everything. Because of the HCP meeting that went with it, when we recognized the volunteers at the same time, we held the meeting in conjunction. Prior to that, we did entertainment and a dinner, and it was over $2,000, I think. And that was, like you said, back in 2007, 8, 6.
Couldn't we just do, I don't know, something, I still think somehow the volunteers need to be recognized, because if it's not the volunteers that we have here in our town, a lot of things won't get done, so I still think that volunteers need to be recognized. So couldn't we just do, I don't know, treats, like, something simple, whether it's just bars and coffee, or, I don't know.
I can also say, also another reason why we stopped, not only because of the economy, but because our participation was dwindling. When it was just the volunteers, we invited volunteers from all of the organizations to send representatives, up to 4 or 8 from each organization, and some of them we could barely even get 2.
But I think at last year's,
That was because it was held with the meeting, with the HCP, and we sent out special invitations, I mean, a mass invitation type thing, because of the HCP.
Okay, is there any suggestions on how we can still recognize, or, we still need to recognize all the volunteers that we have?
Well, I think if we're gonna do that, we should do it during Volunteers Week, which is in
And that's in
April. April, and we could probably plan something between now and then and, you know, budget accordingly. And I think if we're gonna do it, we should make an
Go back
effort
to
to
what
do
it was.
something nice, you know.
Right.
And I don't know if there's something you want to do this year. I think it's kind of late to try to throw together dinner or cake, you know, I don't know.
I mean, for this year, I mean, even if we just sent out a letter to the organization, something, you know, because like I say, it takes the volunteers that we have, it's what takes and builds our community.
Well, I think that's a good idea.
So,
We should do that. We should draft a letter and a letter of thanks and appreciation, and at least send that out to all of the clubs and I don't know by name, you know, who they all are, but you can send it out to the different organizations, right?
You know, whoever Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, whatever.
I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah. And then let them bring something in April.
Yeah,
Yeah, during Volunteers Week.
yeah. You want to help me do that?
Sure.
How is the process gonna work? You know, not to be a stick in the mud, but let's not even talk about if it's gonna be a dinner or just like a recognition night where they get a plaque at the council meeting or something like that, or a gift certificate or whatever. How does the process work as far as the volunteer organizations that are contacted and the ballots with their recommendations come in, and then how does the voting take place? It's all kind of fuzzy to me how it works.
Well, when we started that, which was just a couple of years ago, but you're talking about volunteer of the year,
Yes.
we sent out to the president of each club an application that they could turn in from their club for their recommendation. That's how we did it, but we could review that, you know, when we just put that together at City Hall. And
Yeah, because not every volunteer is a part of an organization.
yes, you're right,
So
yes.
we would have to reach out some other way.
Or if you just, enough, you know, if Mark has a volunteer in mind that isn't part of a club, Mark can grab the application and fill it out
Well, that's what I mean.
on their behalf.
I think they were available, on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, but we could put something in the January newsletter.
Well, then the next step of that is who then decides when those, let's say they're, oh yeah, 10, 20 applications with nominations for different people. Then does that go before council and staff, or how does that work?
However you want it to work.
Throw the question out there because
Well, we didn't get very many applications. So, I reviewed them. Did you review them?
Wasn't part of it.
Michelle, Mark, and I reviewed them.
And I think
And
Joanne.
And Joanne.
no, that's never part of it.
We gave nominations, but not actual anything else. So I think it should be a full council decision and staff, or,
Well, I'm not sure how that works with the open meeting law. How do you have the full council make a decision like that privately if you don't?
Right, I mean, not,
Send us an email, you vote for your top three, they get points, you know, and you do it basically on a point scale. Send an email out to all the council members reply back, not reply all, just contact back to Barb. There's a copy of how you voted, your top three, and do it that way.
that's likely public data though, I mean, if you're okay with that, and that's transparent.
Yep.
I mean, that's, to me, that's, they're a part of the community, I would have no problem You know, if I were still here to show people who I felt were the top three, you know, if it came down to it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I just threw it out there because I don't feel that we have a system.
Yep, to get something in place.
Yeah. You know, maybe now isn't the time to discuss it, but, I think that it needs to be.
Yeah, I think that, we'll put that on a future workshop.
Any other questions on this?
So I just want to get this straight. Are we sending a letter out this year to the organizations and stuff that,
Yes, I wrote that down. I'm going to, I'll write a letter of appreciation, thank you. You can come by and review it. Okay.
okay, thank you.
Want a motion on that then, Barb, or?
I think I'm pretty clear.
All right, and we'll move into City Hall remodeling.
I contacted Jed Larson, you see his proposal. I contacted Great Lumber as well, only to find out that they hired Jed Larson. So, you know, there's not too many people in the area that do this kind of work. So if we're going to do some serious remodeling, we need to have an architect who can draw up plans, and we have to be able to go out for bid. So it's not inexpensive, obviously.
So what you're looking for is $4,800 to draw up the plans to reconstruct City Hall and then send it out to bids to get the work done. Correct?
I'm reading this. Does not include civil engineering, mechanical, electrical, or plumbing plans. So this is architectural plans.
That's the time.
It may not be $4,800 either. They're gonna charge by the hour, not to
This
exceed.
is not to exceed, right?
I hate to put you on the spot, but I would really feel more comfortable, and I realize that, like you said, that we contacted Great Lumber, and they said, well, this is the guy we hired, but I would really feel apples to apples. I'd love to have at least another, yeah,
Jed did our plans at work. Tony looked for other people, and I know Tony is, as you know, is very conscientious about where his money is spent. And Jed is the one who did has done several projects with us. And, I mean, Tony had drawn up to the T the building layout and everything, but just for Jed had to redo it and to put his stamp on the bottom corner. So I know that Jed is a professional at it, and I know that he does a good job. I can speak from experience there.
He built this building. He was our architect for this building. I did look for others in the area. I mean, I've gone to Twin Cities. I really kind of tried to keep it local, and Jed was the only person I could come across that was a structural engineer. But if that's what you feel, I can certainly.
This is me, it's just.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh,
I agree.
I agree, too, sounds good.
Trying to find something to do.
You always have to
I'll
have
say
a
that this is
comparison of one or the
kind
other.
of one with,
Okay, that's
Because,
fine.
waiting years to get it, it wouldn't matter if we table this for,
Table until next year.
yeah.
Is that a motion?
Could make it a motion.
To table till next year or just to get a different, second?
Table it till
second
next year,
opinion?
just You ain't, by the time you get all this done and stuff, you ain't gonna do nothing this way.
Right.
So maybe
But in the meantime, we can still be looking.
For another,
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's what I'm asking, because it sounds like you're saying let's table it till next year, but I say we have
Oh.
Barb find another contractor, get a second quote.
Yeah, we can.
Work wouldn't be done till next year anyway.
Yeah,
We
because
can still do that even though we table this one. Or just don't do anything.
I'm gonna make a motion for Barb to find a second quote for architectural on City Hall.
I'll second that. Barb, find another quote.
I would really strongly urge then my fellow council members to do some looking for someone else to assist in this, because I know, like I say, I know the length that we went through looking, and this is where we came, so. I just really hope that, you know, if we're tabling this, that, you know, let's put some effort into looking for someone else.
I think we're tabling.
We're not tabling it.
Or that we're, okay, that we're putting this off to go out for someone else to bid on it also, that we put in our work to try and find someone else.
Isn't that what we're supposed to do? I mean, we can't compare.
It
Well,
is, but
this is
I
it.
just, I know, but when you're
Right.
talking around here and everyone goes to that person and says they don't know anyone else too.
Right.
We gotta look at the taxpayers money too.
Well, and I agree on that.
Do we have a second?
Motion by Otto, second by Henry, to get a second quote for architectural designs for City Hall remodel.
Mark, I vote.
Aye.
Shell,
Aye.
Johnson. Aye. Dan.
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0. Okay. Community center use, Michelle.
I'm not sure why I'm on this, but I'll take it, I guess. We had in different discussions the cost of the community center, and with the refit program, we did allow with full council to go ahead and let them use the community center at no charge. So, if we look at different ways of, you know, the cost of City Hall right now is what, $125? Or, I'm sorry, community center?
Sunday through Thursday, it's
Sunday,
$125, Friday and Saturday, it's $300.
300, okay. So that's a flat rate of $125. Say a group wants to use it for 2 hours.
It's still $125, so that's what we talked about, was maybe going to an hourly
Change
rate.
it to an hourly rate. So, that's kind of, we do, well, Mondays are used by our meetings and Lions meetings, Tuesdays are fire departments. So then Wednesday, Thursday, do we get a lot of people looking to use it and finding that it's $125?
I have people that call asking to use it for different meetings and don't want to pay the full $125, and we have nothing else to offer them, so. We do have some of the homeowners associations that like to use it for their annual meetings. $125 is kind of steep for them, so if we want to go to an hourly rate, you know, for a meeting at night, or a flat rate, you know, $50 for a meeting. We do charge the local churches, if they're using it for a luncheon, like for a funeral, I think we just charge them $50. So that covers the cost of cleaning. So that's something if you want to do hourly or do a flat rate for a meeting of some kind, that, I guess it's up for discussion how you want to handle it.
I think that we should look at maybe doing an hourly rate so that we can get more usage in here. Because a little is better than nothing. So, is there any discussion on what possibly if we went hourly or just a flat rate? I mean, we're at a flat rate of $125 now. But I mean, if you're only aiming for an hour or 2 hours, that's That's pretty steep.
125 for 5 hours.
5 hours, just for 5 hours, but
Right,
it's
but-
the least we charge. It's a
Right, but
minimum.
I'm saying if you're only here for an hour, 2 hours, you know.
What's Marie charge? What do we pay Marie to clean?
$15 an hour. And she's usually here depending on, if it's a wedding, she's usually here about 4 hours. If it's just a general cleanup, it's 2 to 3 depending on. I mean, we could go up to $25 an hour, like what our rate is now. I mean, it's basically $25 an hour because it's 125 for a minimum. That's a minimum, and then it's 5 hours, and then anything over that is an additional 25. So you can do it in that way.
Sunday through Thursday.
Sunday.
Sunday through Thursday. Okay.
That's a good idea. Wendy and I talked about that.
Yeah.
I think that there's a need for that. You know, some people don't need it for 5 hours or, you know.
Right.
So what's gonna be the hourly charge?
Well, that's what we have to discuss and decide, is what it would be. I mean,
What makes most sense to you, Wendy? Would it be the flat rate of 50 for the meeting or an hourly rate?
A flat rate would probably be easier because there's not gonna be anybody here to monitor it. They can
Yep.
say, I only need an hour for $25 and be
and
here
stay
for
for
4.
free.
It's an hour 45.
Right.
So it might be if it's, you know, if you're having a party in here, like a birthday party or an anniversary or something, it's 125. If you're meeting to having, I mean, if you're coming to have a meeting like the Town Home Associations, we just charge them $50.
$50.
Or anybody else that needed to have a meeting that, you know, wasn't one of our organizations that could use it for free.
Kind of an evening meeting
Yeah.
or afternoon meeting.
Because we do have people who say looking to use it.
We've had people call.
Mhm.
And then on that same line, we could probably extend that out further than when we have organizations that are not within the city, you know, like our local organizations that that we allow to use it. When we have people that call that want to do like a fundraiser or a benefit or something, instead of charging them the 125 or 300, you know, we could come up with some kind of a rate for them too. Because if they don't live in town, you can't give it to them free if they don't live in town, they're not a taxpayer. So that'd be another, I mean, that'd be something, if you wanna, and we can, if you wanna direct that staff and somebody, you know, a council member or something, get together and discuss it, bring it back to the council, I mean, that would be all right.
Be too late to get it in the newsletter that's coming out, right?
Yeah, the newsletter's printed, it's almost completely printed.
It could go at the start of the year though, and go into the January newsletter.
Well, we talked about reviewing our community center policy anyway, so maybe that would be good.
So if we just combined it for like a $50 flat rate for meetings, and then a $50 rate for nonprofit organizations outside of Montrose.
If that's, I'm not sure if that's something we can do, is that, can we do that, as long as we're charging a rate?
Yeah, I need the first part of the rate differential was.
I had it at 50 for both. $50 for meetings, you know, and then $50 for nonprofit organizations that need to use it for a fundraiser. Outside of Montrose.
You want to say nonprofit?
A nonprofit organization that is outside of Montrose to be able to use a community center for $50. Because our nonprofit inside of Montrose right now, they have for free.
Yeah.
So-
Do we have to specify for benefits?
Well, fundraising. Instead of having them pay the $300. I mean, because if you have to pay $300.
What if it's a private
then-
benefit?
Have we ever considered having anything like, you know, if they'd have a benefit for a veteran or something like that, have we ever had any special privileges for veterans or anything?
That's why I think you know, might be better off if we direct staff and if somebody from the council wants to sit in on it, that we kind of look at all that stuff and then bring it back to the council. Because you could probably come up with a number of different things that,
Update it a little bit.
yeah. And you know, if you're going to do a fundraiser and you're going to be in here an entire Saturday, it's $50 enough. is, so that's something that we probably really have to
Yeah, I
discuss.
think definitely, because Friday and Saturday is when we make our money to
Right.
run the building.
So I think it would warrant getting together, maybe you or whoever wants to do it with us and sit down and come up with a bunch of scenarios and
Okay.
present it back to the
Okay, I'll make
council.
a motion to direct staff and interested council to get together and discuss this and make recommendations. For the next council meeting, is that too soon? Or December?
Maybe
It's
December.
November 3rd, let's go for December.
Yeah, because Barb's on vacation one week.
To the December.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mark, second by Ben, to go with recommendation to change cost of the community center policy.
Do we have a date in mind of doing that, or just sometime in November?
Well, we
After
can
we do the recommendation?
discuss it anytime, but
I know, but Bart's going on vacation.
not in December.
No, November, October.
Next week.
That's what I'm saying, if we had a staff meeting.
They're gonna bring the recommendations to the council in
In
December.
December. Mhm. So staff and whatever council members is interested in doing this. But is there a date in mind is what I'm asking?
No,
Could we put a date in mind?
I don't have a calendar.
Oh, I'm still in September. And you're on vacation next week. So,
I need to have my work calendar to see what I have open.
yeah. Okay. You could send out an email or something.
Sure.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Okay, we need a motion. Michelle?
Aye.
Lloyd? Aye. Ben?
Aye.
Mark? Aye. And vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
All right, I'm up here for council pay proposal. I'd like to recommend that we as council members, mayor and other council members, start taking a little fiscal responsibility for our actions and what we do here as members of our city, and propose as follows: that the mayor would receive $125 a month, and council members would receive $100 a month. That would cover all council meetings, appointments that we do for park and rec, planning and zoning, finance, etc. And then if we attend a workshop or conference that is over EDA also, right? Yeah, EDA as well. And then any conference that we would attend that's over 4 hours, we would be eligible for the $100 pay for that meeting. So if you did go to, like when Roy and I went down to the newly elected officials meeting, that would still qualify for the $100 pay, but everything else would fall under the salary. Because I've reviewed it here, and as to date, we've spent $9,320 for council pay.
I think this is a great idea, and the fact that there will be no more council arguments about who is getting $50 for going to a certain meeting or anything like that. The other thing that I would like to add to this is that the conference is over 4 hours. I would like to see that reduced from 100 to 50.
I'm completely open to that. Because I look at it like, if I'm at a meeting that someone else is volunteering at, I look at it as why shouldn't I be volunteering my time?
When you put this in here,
Yes,
you have it as $100 for council,
correct.
$125 for mayor.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put it in there at $100 for council, there's some council members that only attend one meeting a month. So in actuality, they're getting more than what we are paying out right now anyway. Correct?
Correct, but as a whole, we would be lowering.
Right.
On the average, it would be lower too, if you take all of it so far, each council member so far. If you average it out over the 9 months, they've all made over $100 a month,
Yep.
so you'd be okay.
Wow.
But we
As-
clarified the workshop conference. Right now it states over 4 hours, you're paid per day. So is that how it would remain per day? So at a conference, $50 each Friday, $50 Saturday?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
Instead of the 100.
correct.
Not that I'm disagreeing with this, but I did kind of look around at other cities, and Rockford, well, Delano mayor gets $6,600 a year annually, plus $50 per special meeting. Council gets $4,600 a year, plus $50 per council meeting. Howard Lake mayor is at $5,000, the Rockford mayor is at $1,000, plus additional per special meetings. Like I say, I'm not in disagreement, because I do question all of these things, but you're talking about fiscally responsibility and stuff like that. I think putting these in here, and I think it's gotten better, I really do, because we've questioned these things over the past couple months, and people are learning to put, no charge or whatever on here. But in actuality, I don't really think this is for us to decide, because we have a new council coming in. So, we only have a month and a half left before October, November, 2 months, whatever it is. Till the first of the year, new council comes in, I think that should be a full council visit, because some of us may not be here, some of us may be here. I agree with what you're saying, and I also think that maybe when,
But I think though, yes, I do understand what you're saying, but I know when someone is salaried, it's cut and dry what the budget is to pay for them.
right,
I mean, right now, did we have $9,320 budgeted for pay so far this year?
it's in our budget every year. You attended the budget meeting last year. Like I
But
say, I'm not in
it's-
disagreement with
it-
this, but I think, I agree with what you're saying, Ben, but I think people need to be responsible and respectful for what they're charging for.
Mhm.
And so, maybe changing, okay, so say Wendy gives us, she wants our pays, in the beginning of every month, and then it's paid to us, within that week or whatever. Maybe it's not paid to us until the end of the month, so that we can look at it and, just have the discussion on, what meetings we all attended.
Well, I don't think if you can't fill that out in a clear conscience with what you filled out,
Right.
I mean.
Well, I don't agree. Half the things I attend is at no charge. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I attended council meeting, we charge for council meetings, obviously.
Mhm.
But, there's a lot of things that we do that is at no charge. I think it's up to the person's responsibility. Each person needs to be responsible for themselves.
I would like to see us put it as a
Be more
salary.
fiscally responsible.
And
I
put it-
get what you're saying.
And put it as a salary, and then there's none. There's no arguing. We still put in our timesheets as what we did, because we still have to account for that, and it's the end of the discussion. There's no nitpicking over, you got paid for this, or you got paid for that, or anything. It's cut and dry, black and white. It's done.
Right. I'd like to say I don't disagree, but I also think, it should be up for discussion with the next council.
If they want to vote themselves a raise, I would like to be here for that, if sitting in the audience.
I wouldn't say a raise, absolutely not.
If I was taking, I'd like to say something. I find it the convenience of it all that I see outgoing council members that had no problem cashing checks for the last year, 2 years. And then all of a sudden, with upcoming elections, and 1 or 2 meetings left, now all of a sudden it's a good idea to do this. So I do question the timing of it. Show us like an agenda when it goes.
And I've been thinking about this for a while. Do you know how much the council members have made year to date?
I know how much one makes, but I've seen the other ones too, it is in the packets, but.
So right now, we have, I will not name names of the council members, one at $2,600, one at $1,100, one at $2,050, one at $2,450, and one at $1,300. So 2 people here would basically be making the same, and the rest would be taking pay cuts.
But I'm questioning the timing of it, I think, because nobody had anything to say about it until we got right before.
No, there's been nitpicking back and forth about people getting paid for stuff for quite a while.
Sure, there has been, but.
Right, that's what my
And so it came to a head, and I've had enough with the nitpicking, and, you know, whether I'm come back in or not, I don't care. I need to see that I'm doing something that's right for my community, and this is something that I feel is right for my community.
Even though it just happened to be election time.
Doug?
Isn't there some law that they can't vote a raise until, or it has to be before the election? There's a timing question there.
This is a reduction.
Well, I was gonna add that. There's a statute that says, I have it right up here, no change in salary shall take effect until after the next succeeding municipal election. So we're talking an increase or a decrease.
That's why I said the first.
So you have an election now, you know, so it would if this is approved, it would take effect in January.
But if you wait till November, it has to wait a whole year, whole
Right.
2 years.
Yes,
Yeah.
has to wait till the next election.
Election, right?
Well, any more discussion?
Do we have to have a motion
You only have
to
to-
table this?
Or a motion to go ahead with it. I mean, the only thing I have is,
Well,
I don't wanna make this-
Evidently, we can't.
No, we can go ahead
You can reduce it, but it won't go into effect until
until
January.
January 1.
But, well,
I make a motion to put us on salary for the mayor at $125 a month, the council members at $100 a month, and the workshop or conferences lasting over 4 hours to $50 a meeting.
Second.
Motion by Ben, second by Mark. Put this council pay proposal into effect in January. Johnson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Michelle?
I,
I vote aye. Motion carried 5-0. Okay, November meeting, Bart Swanson.
We added to that to cancel the 10/27 meeting. So, there's a bunch of meeting changes. Cancel the October 27th, hold the regular council meeting on the 3rd of November, because deer hunting happens to be November 10th. And there's some people that can't make meetings because the deer are hanging out or something. The 17th, we'd like to hold a budget workshop and then cancel the November 24th meeting. So I think if you're agreeable to that, one motion could cover all those changes.
And planning and zoning, special meeting.
Oh, that's not for the council. That's already taken care of.
Oh.
Okay, I'll make a motion to change the council meeting to November 3rd. Do we have to cancel the 27th?
Yep.
Yeah. cancel the 27th October,
Workshop, so.
budget workshop on the 17th, and the November 24th cancel.
And cancel the 10th.
And cancel the council meeting on November 10th.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mark, second by Ben to cancel. Just other meeting for November.
Should I read them? Cancel October 27th, hold the council meeting on November 3rd, cancel the November 10th meeting, hold a budget workshop at City Hall on November 17th, and cancel the November 24th meeting.
Lloyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, Christmas holidays, Barb?
I've had 2 employees ask me if we're going to be closed on Friday, the 26th of December. So I said I would ask the city council. Employees are willing to take vacation, compensatory time, or PTO that day. It's Friday, it's 4 hours. I don't imagine that there'll be much activity at City Hall.
Are we open Christmas Eve? Till noon? Right?
We're open all day on Christmas Eve.
We're open all day unless you agree to close early. But otherwise, we're open all day at Christmas Eve.
What was our discussion last year? Wasn't it to close
Well,
early?
Yes, we closed early last year because of the way Christmas fell.
Christmas was on, I don't remember.
Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't know, whatever day, but we closed early. But this year, with Christmas being on Thursday, Friday will be pretty quiet.
Okay, because I was thinking we closed early from discussion of last year.
I think
We
we
did.
did,
Close
we
early
did
on
early
Christmas
at
Eve.
noon or something on Christmas Eve.
Because it fell in the middle of the week, so that allowed people, I think it fell on a Wednesday, so by closing early on Christmas Eve, it allowed people to be able to travel and get back for Thursday, Friday. But this year,
So
because
that
of
would just be
Christmas being on
open
Thursday, we would just be open,
Thursday,
yeah, so
Oh.
people could travel.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion then to close City Hall Friday, December 26th, and allow the employees to use their vacation, PTO, or whatever it is they have.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Michelle, second by Ben to close Christmas holiday on December 26th. Ben, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
Thank you. So this is wrong. Highway 12 Safety Coalition, supporting the creation, it should be a Highway 12 Safety Coalition, not 55. Earlier this year, the city of Delano organized Project Long Lake, Maple Plain, Montrose, Waverly, Howard Lake, to discuss safety on Highway 12. There's been 3 or 4 meetings. They would like to establish a coalition. There's no monetary commitment. It's simply a group of cities working with MnDOT, both District 1 and 3, to improve safety along 12. Lots of the discussion has been the bypass between Long Lake, through Long Lake, and some other improvements. So this is really the bylaws and a motion to, it's a motion to adopt resolution 2014-17 supporting the creation of the safety coalition. And in the resolution, it asks for an appointment as a representative and an alternate.
And would it be better to do the appointment and the alternate after the election?
Well, I need to turn this in.
Okay.
So, you know, you could put administrator and council member, I don't know, you need a.
Okay, can we adopt the resolution first, or do you want it all at once?
I think we do it all at once.
Okay.
I'll
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2014-17, and it'll take it until after the elections, mayoral appointments. Lloyd Johnson would be the representative, and our city administrator would be the alternate.
That's fine. Sounds good. I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mark, second by Ben to adopt resolution 20-14-17. And Lloyd Johnson would be the representative and Bart Swanson is administrator.
Alternate.
Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Lloyd?
Abstain.
Ben?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried forward. Okay.
You know, I don't know on this next one if I should have put Councilmember Otto on this one, but she asked me if it was on the agenda, so I put her name behind it.
Well,
She asked me a question, I couldn't answer it, so.
I do have a question for it. Where do we stand on this? I know, Mayor Henry brought this to our attention, the stormwater creek behind Casey's, the water drainage that goes back there. So maybe you want to take it, Roy?
Well, I'm discussing it with a few county commissioners, and I had MinDOT down there, and they're gonna get me some more answers out of Baxter and Brainerd, where we gotta deal with. And I'm trying to find out who owns all this property around this creek, so I can
The
get.
map's in your,
So I can get something rolled up with our attorney or with Barb to find out for that. And then that, place that's got, storage, there should be a fence put around that. We'll have to get a hold of that guy, so the mattresses and that stuff ain't being thrown over into the creek. So when I find out a little bit more from the county commissioner, I gotta call him tomorrow morning again. And then I gotta meet with, Wright, Sand and Soil, whatever it is, and talk to them about it. And then I'll get some answers from them, what we can do. Because MinDOT says what should be done. The guy can get people to work with it, and then with a bulldozer.
Is there discussion? Can we, sorry. I mean, usually, if there's just council discussion, we need to have a discussion.
And I'm gonna keep working on this until we get something solved out.
Okay.
Because it's not a nice situation, it's an ugly situation, the way it's set up right now. And the water cannot flow around that curve and where that mattress and that stuff laying over that bank down there. So I'll keep working on it, and I get some more answers, I'll get back to the council on it, so we can go ahead with what we can proceed.
If I can interject quickly, maybe for the minutes, it might be nice to have the council do a motion for that, have the mayor make those connections, just for the record. But before you do that, number two is, there was a mention of a watershed district. Does the city have, is there a watershed district around here?
It's the county, so it's all ours.
So I'm wondering.
Yeah.
So right now, we kind of agree that that needs to be cleaned up back there. I think that's consensus of the council. I mean, I want to verify that. Ben, have you been back there?
Yeah, I drove back there and I, looked across and saw that, yeah, it is, but I look at it too, I mean, it's on private property too. So we have to get the people that own that property willing to clean it.
Right,
Yes,
and
it's private, right, but the people I talk to and stuff like that, being that we supply city sewer and water down in that trailer park, we got a right to go down there and talk to these people so something can get done.
Okay.
But a lot of it's owned by the property owners.
Right.
And I think we had that discussion in a staff meeting to find out who the property owners were and address it with Andy, the legal way of doing this, since it is private property. Is that correct?
Right. They're, just from my perspective, I would like to have some sort of, I mean, it'd be optimal to have an easement or something that would allow you to go in and do the maintenance that's needed. Right now, I understand there isn't anything.
Right.
Right, okay.
Because if that water don't run right underneath Highway 12 there, by the body shop and by Travis's there, that water backs up in that swamp back there, and then it comes up to these people's back door with their walk-out basement. Because I've been over there and they had water seeping in around their basement doors. And I don't think it's fair to the taxpayers to have to go through that.
The reason why I asked about the watershed district is I talked to a few of the other cities that we worked with who have creeks or other things that also run through private properties, and they generally don't know what's going on. It's more of a watershed district concern as far as maintaining that and such. So if there's a county soil district that's in charge, then that might be the party to talk to come up with something. So I don't think they have any easements either, but we have to figure that out. So maybe that's part of your discussions, Mr. Mayor, that you'll have.
Well, that's just like another thing behind David Arnold's over there, and that water was trenched from behind the German restaurant, behind the canvas place, and then behind Jeff Peterson, and that runs down behind David Arnold's there. When we get a good rain, his one shed gets flooded all the time, and that was supposed to have been hooked up to where that water runs over behind that storage unit into that pond, and that was never ever completed. And that's going on a good 15 years already.
I think there's other issues too, Andy, and that's, we're gonna be having a discussion a little later here about snow removal on private roads. We're on this property with our equipment, a portion of it. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm assuming that if you feel a certain way about the snow removal on private roads, you're gonna have to go along with the same thing on with our property, city property and private property, trying to maintain that ditch. The other thing is, I don't want our city guys getting hurt down there. If we would have a 10-inch rainfall in 2 days, and they're down there trying to unplug something, because it's just a tangled mess down there now, with limbs and junk and everything else. Or worse yet, have the fire department trying to do rescue in there. Is it the right thing to do to get that ditch cleaned up? Yeah. We've got to figure out a way to do it. So I would rather have, I would like to see council direct you to see what our options are there. You know, as far as what is it going to take to get the landowners to help out, or we go in there with our equipment, they pay for it, or whatever. But
Sure.
what are our options for that? Does that make sense to you guys?
So if
And one other thing I'd like to say is that you should get the names and addresses of those owners and see about getting an easement so that it makes everything legal. Because I'm sure they can't use it, so I'm sure nobody's going to question about giving an easement for somebody to clean it out.
So what if we were to have Andy, Roy, and Sean work together to figure out the best way to take care of this situation?
Sounds like a good plan.
So then I'll make a motion to have Roy, Andy, Sean work together to continue to figure out the best way legally to get that creek cleaned up that is behind Casey's.
I'll second that.
Motion by Michelle, second by Lloyd, to have Andy, Sean, and me look into this further so we can get the problem solved for people and the safety of our firemen and our maintenance people in the city.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0. Okay, snow removal on private road. Barb?
Well, I'm probably gonna really ask Andy to talk about this after we have, the two private roads I wanna talk about are Third Street South and the Rock Brook Road. We do have other private roads in town, but they are not being plowed by the city. So, the Rock Brook Road, I spoke to one of the owners, he owns, 5 units in Rockbrook. He has been deeded all of the common land, and he said there is a homeowners association in place. He just has to start collecting revenue. So he can do that to have money to pay for snow removal.
So they have a homeowners association in place?
They have, it's all organized. They
And they
just
just
have,
haven't utilized it?
yes.
Okay.
So he said that he would take care of that. I'll talk to him again later this week because I talked to him last week. I asked Andy if he would help me work through this, and I'll let him tell us.
Yes, Mayor and Council, in our city I work with, we also have this issue come up, so it can be common when you have private roads, especially in developments such as this. So I'm sort of the killjoy of the group and require, or I get nervous about things probably. And so my main concern is sort of just talked about with the Stormwater Creek, is that this is a private alley, private road, whatever you want to call it, and with the city being on that, doing some work that could cause some issues for liability purposes. Certainly it's, some cities I work with do plowing of brief alleys or short alleys or whatever, just to be good neighbors, and obviously that's a good thing. The problem is when you have a situation where you, a snow plow dings a car or something, or if a person runs out in front of it or something, then you're in trouble because you as a city vehicle are somewhere where you don't, you're not really supposed to be there. It's a private alley, private lane, private road. So that's sort of the liability concern that we have. Normally when city workers are working within their scope of employment and working pursuant to a policy where they're in a public place where they're supposed to be, they're going to be immune from liability, and the city will be immune for that sort of thing under the sovereign liability doctrine. However, when you're off doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, as far as doing something on a private road, that liability there would be no immunity typically for that sort of thing. So the city could be paying that bill. So while it's a good thing to do that, it's kind of carries with the risks that really the city shouldn't be taking, in my view. So I don't know if I put together a letter. I don't know if you had that here. That would sort of be sent out to the townhouse development, which would just basically say, it's very brief, saying, due to all the prohibited liability that the city will undertake, we would discontinue that. I could read it if you want, but it's brief. This is just a draft letter that I put together. I was meeting with Barb today, and we talked about that, and I just put this together before the meeting. So it would be a letter to the association, basically saying as follows: the city is aware that your townhouse development contains one or more private roads, of which the city has no property interest. The city has previously plowed these roads during winter. I think I'm right on that fact. However, the city may incur prohibitive liability for personal property damage or personal injury due to this work. Therefore, upon the advice of our legal counsel, the city will discontinue the practice of snow plowing private roads in your development. The association board, and the board will have to be up and functioning, should take action to contract with private contractors to ensure that private roads are plowed during the winter season. The city will coordinate with all contractors during snowfall events, such as your transition from a public road to a private road. Additionally, if the association board is interested, the city may consider plowing private roads pursuant to a contractual arrangement that has the necessary indemnification provisions protecting the city. I don't know if we'll do that or not. I sort of threw that in there. We'll have to talk about that. If the private association wants the city to continue to do the work, we're going to need a pretty airtight contract to do that, to make So that was the letter, a draft letter that would go under Barb's signature. Putting in your comments.
But if they want that road plowed, Andy, I think there should be a stipulation in there, if we wreck our equipment going through there, they would have to stand behind for repair.
I doubt you'd get that.
I don't think we should.
But if they're not allowed that, and we have a ding a car, would that go under our liability insurance? I mean, that wouldn't be,
Yeah, I'm just talking now, Lloyd, with the manholes that are raised up that high before that last layer of tar is put down and the curb stops down there. If they're sticking out and we hit one of them and bust it off, now the association would have to pay for fixing the water lines and stuff down in that area.
I don't think we should plow private streets. What happens when we're plowing Rockbrook Boulevard and Meadowbrook Cottages says, well, you're plowing their streets, we want you to plow our streets. Or the private road out in Forest Creek, they want us to plow that. I think that we should not plow private roads. We aren't in that business. I don't think we should start.
Okay, Andy, we have plowed private roads in this town for many years. Now, if we all of a sudden stop because of past practice, is the statement that says it is recommendation by legal counsel that we should stop doing this, is that going to cover us? And then where does it come in if we need to get a fire truck down that road?
Well, I think that is the concern. If you have a private road that is not plowed, not only with the ones that we don't plow right, the city doesn't plow right now, I don't know how they get contractors to do that during the winter season. So if there's a foot of snow there, that nobody can get out anyway. So I think it just kind of takes care of itself. However, there still is the risk that you talk about emergency. Then you would need sort of an emergency plowing to do that. I mean, if we're discontinuing plowing private roads and they fail to plow and you have an emergency, that's the other side of the coin. I grant you that. Because you have to get in there somehow with a fire truck.
Right. So how is the city liable at that point then?
Well, I mean, if the exigent circumstances could be taken into effect, maybe that would be a mitigating factor. If you run into a car and you're trying to, respond to a call for distress. I'm not an insurance agent, so I'm not sure what the thought is, but I'd be worried that if you ding a car, the liability insurance policy would not cover that for the city because you're not on public property. It'd be an exclusion of coverage.
I might be a little confused here, but so what you're saying is do not plow private roads because private roads, but due to an emergency, and say a fire truck or something needs to get in there, then we can?
Well, I mean, so the city has no property interest in these private roads. So you really have, the city could be excluded from being on that private road because it's be like a gated community or something. But when push comes to shove in the emergency, that outweighs the private road factor, I would say. Because you have to get in there to respond to an emergency. Hopefully they will have contracted to plow that. I assume that they will because people have to use that road in the wintertime and it's in their best interest to do so. But if you get a foot of snow in there and they don't get it done, you got to find a way in there as a city. So I mean that is sort of an intractable catch-22, I suppose.
But that would be no different really than getting into a parking lot. I mean, we have apartment buildings in this town too, and we don't plow those, and if we have a foot of snow in an emergency, they may have to call our guys in to open the path. I mean, that's not gonna be any different.
If we have to wait for somebody to get there with a plow truck,
Somebody could be.
we're not gonna be waiting there.
Exactly.
I mean, if it's 1 o'clock in the morning and Public Works isn't out, we're gonna find a way to get the job done. Because by the time they get there, not saying you guys are slow, we're gonna be done and gone. I mean, to plan for an emergency like that, honestly, I wouldn't even have it in your conversation, because we're gonna do what it needs to be done. The county doesn't have plow trucks out in the middle of the night. discussion
Right.
right now, because we had issues last winter. And guess what? The county's not helping us. We're on our own. They came back to see if your local plow driver will help you. That's how it came back to us. So, I mean,
What's your response time? If Danny comes in in 15 minutes,
I can be here in 11 minutes.
well,
on a
so,
good day.
and then you've got a fully engulfed building, you've got an ambulance that's stuck at
Our first,
Rockbrook East.
our first truck en route, I'll even give it a bad day, is 5-6 minutes. On a bad day.
Yeah, but if it's a snowstorm, it can happen anywhere in town. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean,
I just asked the question because I totally expect that one of these properties is gonna give us pushback.
I don't know if the council's looked at this, if they can address it. We've got one resident that's on 7th and Rockbrook West that I've talked to, who's got concerns about. Last year, I believe it was, did the property owners have somebody come in a couple of times, plow out the driveways or something in that development, and they brought the snow across 7th Street and up into his chain link fence that borders 7th Street at Rockbrook West. If this outfit decides to do their own snow removal, I don't know where they're gonna move the snow to. You got a homeowner that's got concern that his property's gonna get damaged from them plowing across 7th Street. And if they come out the other end, now they're on Brook Circle East,
There's a dead end down there.
and there's a dead end down by Herman Epples that's got a barricade. So if they do their own snow removal, they're gonna have to be authorized to plow on city street to get the snow, because they don't have any place on there, down in there to put snow. So I think it's something that needs to be addressed, that if the city decides not to plow the snow in that development, then there has to be strict restrictions put on who's ever doing the plowing for the property owner as to where that snow goes. Just a concern that I think should be thought out too.
Well, I think right now, Barb, you're gonna talk to, what's his name that owns some of them rentals down there?
I have.
But excuse me, there are some owners down there now too, right?
Looks like a airport.
And they all pay taxes, you know?
That guy wouldn't have went belly up down there, that road would have been dark.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, that's beyond our control.
I mean, if it's still private property, it's still private property. I mean, I lived in a townhouse for a number of years, and there was a couple of years where we actually had to pay the snow removal company to come in with dump trucks and haul the snow out, because we ran out. I mean, ours was horribly designed, the townhouses, for snow, and they had to do it a couple times one winter, come in with dump trucks and a couple front end loaders and haul the snow out.
We should have everybody in the planning and zoning go down there and see what the mess they designed there, how they ever approved it. The
Those
first,
people aren't on planning and zoning anymore.
well, I know, but the new one, so we don't have that happen again.
Sean, is that posted down there, no parking on that street?
Yes.
I think there's about 4 signs down there, Mr. Sean.
I don't know the exact number, Mr. Mayor, but we did put signs down there at the request of the fire department. So if there were something, I think that, not say that they're obeyed, but
I would say it's not enforced, though, right?
I can't answer that.
You get-
That's right, county.
You get into technicalities on stuff like that, because we had several cars that were basically abandoned. You have to go through steps, and it's basically like a 72-hour period or longer before you can get a sheriff to come in and tag it, and then you have to wait so long before you get a tow truck to move it.
I'll go with Dr. Greg.
But down at Rockbrook, the homeowners now they're actually utilizing that. Should be, right, to get a plow to come in.
So you need authorization for the letter.
We need a motion for that letter to go out to them.
That's what the council wishes to do, I just, I'm trying to do what's right for the city.
Well, I can say if we send them letters out, see what kind of feedback we get.
I was hoping that the individual I talked to last week would kind of take matters into his own hands, and
Or should
it
we
would solve itself.
just table it for now then until you hear back from him to see what they're
I
gonna.
don't really want to table it, because if he's not doing anything, then we should move ahead with it, but,
That's not the only letter either. I mean, that's not the only
right,
person.
right. I
That-
think we
that
need to
person
have a
that-
meeting with the other person.
The person that you're talking to, does he own several of the units?
Five.
Right.
And he's associates with another individual that owns 6.
In that complex.
So what I'd like to do is talk to him this week and see what happens over the next couple of weeks, and if nothing's taken place by the end of the month, send the letters like right around the first. I suppose if we're meeting November 3rd, we could address it then.
So you don't need a motion for
Just kind of
just directions.
try to work through it in the next couple of
Yep,
weeks,
see
yeah.
if you can work through it without sending a letter.
I think we're gonna, yeah.
Then discuss it on November the 3rd.
Doing that, we can have this in the packet.
Yes.
The letter.
Yep. That sounds like a plan.
Yep.
Everybody agree? Okay, now we'll go move on to the school crossing.
Being so involved with the schools, Mr. Steffes has talked to me at open house about the school crossing, and I believe he's contacted Barb also. When the kids cross the street in the morning at school crossing on 2nd Street and, what is that, Buffalo Avenue, cars don't stop. I take my daughter there on her bikes, you know, not every week, but when it's warm, when we get a chance, and we have to stand there and wait with the crossing guard in the, in the crosswalk. 8-10 cars continue to go through there, and it's a safety hazard. We did address Wright County. We went to the school this morning at like 7:45, 10 to 8, something like that. And again, Wright County's sitting out there, but that is not the peak times. Kids aren't going to school at 7:45 in the morning, they're going to school at 8:15 to 8:45. So, I mean, like Mark said, it's not, how did you,
That's not the contract.
that's not our contracted time, but it's still, right, that is not really the answer right here, because that's our kids that are crossing the streets. And sometimes kids run late, you know, where the crossing guard is not out there, and they have to take a chance and cross. So, and right now, there is no signage out there that says school zone, anything. That there's a sign that shows that there's a crosswalk, but it's right on the crosswalk. It doesn't say crosswalk ahead or anything like that, so there's really no warning. So I think we need to address this. I am still working with Mr. Steffes. He has also contacted the county, because the county is the county road. Then the county in return says it's the city that's responsible, so we're trying to figure out who's responsible for what. But I think that some signage needs to be out there saying school zone, 10 miles an hour during school, and watch for kids, something. because I don't wanna say could get hurt, because nobody can stop or crosswalk. And I'm also looking at working with the landowner that's over there, to put the school sign back out on the property out there so that people know that there's a school and that kids will be crossing that area, but that's still in the works too, so. What I'm looking for is some kind of discussion here as to what we can do, a signage that can go out there.
The city's reliable for the signs, Michelle, the city will have to buy the signs.
Right, but can we put the signs out there since it's a county road?
No.
That's what we can't.
We'll have to figure out from the center of that road over, it's 150 feet. I can put signs, because 150 feet from the center of that line over, you do not own. It's
The county.
the county owns.
Bart,
I think this is something Justin can help us with.
okay. Do you have any input, Justin?
A school speed limit zone could be established. It does create a bit more difficulty being it is a county road, but I can certainly work with the county highway department and get their input on that. And I assume that's something that Mr. Steffes probably has already done or is working on.
He's not getting any feedback. He's been in contact with the county,
Okay.
but then the county in return has told him it's a city. You know, and then we contact them and they turn around.
Typically, the way the county handles that, it's within city limits, it is the city's, the way they see it is it's the city's responsibility to put the signs up. However, it's on a county road, so you need a permit from them to put the signs up, and they need to approve that, being it's on a county road. So, that's probably why he's not getting anywhere, is because it's not coming from the city. So, I probably need to make a formal request on behalf of the city and say, you know, we want to establish a school speed limit zone here.
So you need direction from the council to establish the permits that are necessary for us to put up the signage.
Yeah, what I'd probably do is, I draft up just a simple figure showing, I'd probably just make an initial discussion with the county and get their input and buy-in, and just put a simple map together of what the signage would be. Then I'd bring that back to council for their review and comment, and then we would make the formal application, permit application to the county. So if you want to direct me to make the initial contact with the county and come up with a preliminary sign plan for your review, that'd be appropriate.
Okay, I will make a motion then to have Justin work with the county to get the preliminary signage that we need for the crosswalk on Buffalo Avenue and 2nd Street.
I'll second that. For Justin to get decided, Sugar County, what we gotta have, and the city would have to be responsible for the signs then, right, Justin?
That's correct.
How many crossing guards do they have out there? Have they looked at adding a second one?
No.
When that
It's an
crossing,
adult,
It's an adult.
when that crossing guard does get violations going through there, you have told me that she complains to,
Mr. Steffens.
and does that get followed up then with a call right to Wright County?
That I'm not sure. I know we
Should
got in
be,
contact, but
the officer told me that yes, it should, if any kind of video with a
Right.
license plate on it,
yeah.
is all he needs to write a ticket.
Right, but, which I understand that too, but with one crossing guard and a kid, it's
I
kind of
understand.
hard
I understand.
going out.
If we have to get parents or council members to stand out there in the morning, that's,
Yeah, if we could get, one crossing guard basically in each lane of traffic. Okay.
The guards usually walk out into the road, they don't stand on the side of the
Yep,
road.
they do.
They usually walk out and
Yeah, well, when I was
Do they-
growing up, we did crossing guard duty, and we had two that went across the state highway. One was in the northbound lane, one was in the southbound lane, with the flags and the, so.
Yeah.
school might be worried about cops with that, budgets being tight, and paying someone else to be out there.
Yeah.
and you're not worried about taking it yet.
Yeah.
No, but that's what the school would probably come back with,
Yeah.
some budget constraints.
So Justin, if you could, we have,
Just to clarify one thing, it's just the crosswalk across County Roads, all Montrose, around Buffalo Avenue.
and 2nd Street, yeah.
Second Street,
At
South
Second
Street,
South.
Across Second side street as well, or?
Well, that's the intersection, I mean.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Johnson, how do you vote? Aye. Michelle?
I,
Mark? Aye. Ben?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carried 5-0.
Justin, can you keep me updated on that?
Yes.
Or something, thank you.
You have your next meeting on November 3rd, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now we move on to open forum. Melissa?
Okay, two quick things. For the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, in September, at our first meeting, we did our city leadership section, which Ben has agreed to be in charge of on the committee. And one of the things that we talked about, the minimum requirement for that section is that at least once a year, we come to the council and give you guys an update on what's going on. We have decided that we will come every 6 months. So we're looking at probably sometime in January, February, and then another time in July and August to give you an update on what has gone on in the last 6 months, and then anything that we have coming forward. So just so you guys are aware of that, in January and February, we'll be coming back to you with a more detailed report on what we've been up to. So far we've got 2 sections completed. We're working on getting those down on paper, so we're right on track so far. So. And then the next thing, I had emailed this to Barb earlier today, and she suggested I bring it forward to the council. I know that we don't always have great attendance at the meetings, and I think it's because sometimes it gets lengthy and people, people have their obligations, they have kids, etc. So something I think would be helpful for the community to kind of understand what's going on a little bit better would be to provide some kind of condensed version of the meeting minutes. Basically cutting out anything that's maybe not really relevant to our citizens, but stating what maybe an issue is, what a few points on what was discussed, and then how the issue was voted on. So that people can, after the meeting, just go and take a quick look, see what was talked about, see what was discussed on, because maybe they'll have an opinion, maybe they'll want to be more involved when they don't have to sit through a 2-hour video or a 2-hour meeting or a 2+ hour city council meeting. And they don't have to hear about, approving the agenda and this and that, because that's not always really relevant to most citizens. So, I thought I would bring that up as a possible suggestion on putting something like that together after each city council meeting, posting it on the website and on social media and maybe any other avenues too, just to maybe try and get the citizens a little more involved and create a little more discussion on what's going on in the community.
I like that idea. So basically it'd be like shorthand or cliff notes type of.
Basically,
bullet
yep.
points of-
Yep, so it would
short
just be
synopsis.
whatever the issue is, what was discussed in brief terms.
I like the idea too. The only problem I see is that who's gonna do it?
I offered to do it, because I'm here most of the time anyway. I mean, it's just a matter of taking a few notes and typing it up.
Who would be putting it on the city's website?
I would send it off to Barb, because I don't have access to the
Right,
city's
that's
website,
fine.
yeah.
But then from there, when you put it, putting it on the city's website or the city's Facebook page, we have a hard time getting stuff on there now. So that's what I'm questioning, do we have, I think it's a good idea. I think it should be.
It would basically be like a Word document or a
Doesn't
PDF
have to
document.
pretty much update those.
That's what I'm asking, do we have?
Canada said.
Yeah.
Take care of that.
So just something, and I think that might just kind of get people a little more involved in, you don't have to sit there and vote stuff.
So say after tonight's council meeting, maybe by next, or Wednesday or Monday.
Yeah, I would say
Just
sometime
have an
later in the week, something you could get put together and then just how an issue is voted on. So, like with, the snow plowing, we can say, it was, we made a motion for this is who voted what, and what was decided, or any other issues. So if people have questions, they can always ask the questions too, instead of
hearsay, because I think so many people don't necessarily understand what's going on at the meeting, and then they start talking about other things, and then it gets out of control.
Well, I think it's a good idea too, because the minutes aren't on the website until they've been approved by the council, so.
So they're a month late.
September is,
later,
yeah, they run a
exactly.
month behind.
Yep, and I mean, and it can get long too, I mean, and not everybody might understand what parts of the meeting are, because they're not as directly involved as some community members are, so.
Well, if you're willing to do that,
Yeah,
I think
and
that's
it's just
wonderful.
another avenue to help people feel more connected to the city. In terms of they can understand things we do.
Is there any problem with that, Andy, releasing the minutes before they're approved?
No, I was just thinking about that. I work with other cities that do this, and they, I don't know what the term is that they call them, I mean, besides unapproved draft minutes, but it's sort of an executive summary of the minutes that just has a quick blurb under each important section title of the agenda. So those are usually out in a few days after the meeting, and if the parties willing to do it, it's pretty easy to do. I can send, maybe I'll send Barb an example of a city I'm thinking of that does that, and they do it really quick past the meeting.
And who usually does it?
Pardon?
Who usually does the minutes?
You know, I'm not the attorney for that, for this city. I'm thinking of the city of Grant and over by Stillwater, but they do them out really quick, and they have sort of this, it sounds like a modified agenda that's just filled in with votes. And it seems like that the gloss doesn't need to be on there for this first part of the discussion.
So what I'm asking is it a citizen that does it, or is it staff?
I think it's the staff in that case,
Okay.
I think.
Would you coordinate that with Anna and what's that?
Sure.
I think that's good.
Yeah, thanks for offering to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we got a special thank you here for Montrose Fire and Rescue for the birth of little Griffin, especially Mike for his fast response, which is great.
I gotta ask Mike, this the first one you delivered? Help deliver?
Well, it's the first one we delivered from basically start to finish. The fire department was involved in a couple of them. One was delivered when we got there, and one, the party for helping the ambulance comes to visit. This is really the first one that I'm aware of, since I've been on and talked to Billy, that we delivered that department.
Wow.
So what's he in there, a little half?
Yeah, we took a shot of that over there and took a picture. We spent a week and a half in the NICU. He was 6 weeks early. Everything turned out fantastic. So I was so happy when he cried when he came out.
He came to the first one, he even brought cookies for all the guys.
All right.
And I'd like to acknowledge all the workers that helped with Highway 12 planning out there, and Sean's maintenance workers for their help and everything. It really turned out great. Everything was appreciated. Any other acknowledgements?
I'd like to acknowledge Sue White and Sherry Riddell for their service to Park and Recreation.
Well, I forgot to acknowledge Georgiana for her time on planning and zoning. She was greatly appreciated.
I'm not sure if I can do this, because I'm not really good at names, but, earlier in the month, two teenage girls helped assist, another, she's not a teenager, she's in her 20s. They helped assist this young girl in what could have been a pretty serious, accident, and these two girls took it upon themselves to help this girl out, and basically they called the cops and saved this girl from a suicide. So I don't know if I can really give the girls' names up there, I just wanna let you guys know that there was 2 girls that helped, assist in helping another young lady. Not take her life.
Any other acknowledgements? Motion for adjournment?
Second.
Motion by Mark, second by Ben, to adjourn. Everybody in favor?